Improving productivity is critical everywhere today, and if you're good at it, it's like printing money. A friend of ours was just starting as a consultant, and one of his first clients was a machine manufacturer. The company had a bottleneck in production that they just couldn't seem to break. Orders were backed up, customers were getting restless about their late deliveries and unreliable shipments, they were missing out on revenues, running high on overtime, and at a risk of losing many customers. The bottleneck was in the welding department, and it looked like they would have to expand the plant to fit in more welding areas and welders. It was going to cost a ton of money, but worse, it was going to take time. The plant manager had many years of experience, and he was very kind. He presented their efficiency data showing from a thick report that they had better than 93% in the welding department, and then informed him that they were at the top of their firms they benchmarked against. But it's also clear that he didn't see much opportunity. Our friend kindly told his host that he felt like there was 25% growth, and rather than butting heads over opinions, suggested that they go and watch the welding department in action. The goal was to define what good looks like, so as they headed into the plant, he was picturing what that would look like for the welding department. What good looked like in his mind was blue light. A minute later, they're standing in front of a welding booth, manned by a welder hard at work. Welder 1 finished his part. He turns off his welder and then begins the process of moving in a crane to move the parts out of the way to prepare the space for the next batch of parts. Once the next item was moved into place, the welder began to scrape at the parts. The plant manager noticed the puzzled look on my friend's face and told him that there was a plastic coating that had to be removed at the weld point. Welder 2 was observed using a jig to put parts into place and measured to make sure that they were located properly. This process took place on each corner. Then after gearing up, he started his welds. He turned off his welder and repeated the part by clamping with a jig onto the next part. Welder 3 disappeared and returned with a lift that he had used to move the finished parts out of the way. There was very little blue light at all, and all the consultant could think of was, "Man, did I sandbag this guy, there's not just 25% capacity here. I missed it by 1 or 2 zeros." Fortunately, before he could say anything, the plant manager turned to him and said, "You see, they're busy all the time," referring to the welders who were indeed working their butts off. How we look at something literally determines what we see. When we get in the habit of doing or looking at things in a certain way, we don't even think about it or question it. And very often, that makes all the difference in the world. Within a month, this company had piles of buffers in the welding cut in half by eliminating the welders from doing anything but producing blue light. They had record shipping months and record profits for the year. What is your blue light?